Since the time I did the first part of this recording on the maize issue in Kenya, the government has gone round and round in circles. You know, we have been told very many different things, some things which still don't make sense. Or the maize was from Mexico, but it went via South Africa. Yeah, it took 7 days. Yeah, from the time the Gazette notice was put up by the KRA. Still doesn't make sense because it takes about 3 days to load a ship. And even if it was already in the high seas, it still doesn't make sense because we're told it originated from Mexico. It did not originate from the high seas. Gosh. Anyway, this is a case whereby it's very clear. This is a case where we're being taken round in circles because definitely there's something to hide. Definitely there's something which is not making sense. It is corruption. It is just like being pregnant. This schoolgirl is pregnant, but we're being confused with many stories. Oh, you know, the headmaster raped me, I forgot to tell you. Oh, I have a boyfriend, but nothing has happened. Oh, but I'm not pregnant. But all the evidence is there. She's vomiting. She has morning sickness. The stomach is bulging. But still we're getting stories. Oh, you know the headmaster. Oh, you know this boy. Oh, you know I've been in the Christian Union. Oh, you know I've been holding a Bible. You know, that it's the same case. And it is just clear, clean corruption. Okay? And you see, the saddest thing, it's corruption at the expense of the ordinary Kenyan person. This is what is very sad about this. Do corruption with other things, spare parts. Do corruption with other things which don't touch on human life directly. Yeah? But when you do corruption on food, so that a family goes for 2 or 3 days hungry, oh, that one, let me just stop there. But you talk to Mzee and he'll tell you what that means. Just talk to Mzee in the village. I know we're all very well educated. We don't think Mzees have anything to tell us. Yeah? Anyway, the issue here is what we really need to ask ourselves. You know, there's an issue here which everybody has not realized. And this is the issue. I just want to take you back. Flashback. Yeah? Very briefly. The year was 2003. President Kibaki had just been elected. You know, President Kibaki is the first popularly elected Kenyan president. Okay? Jomo Kenyatta was never elected directly by the public. Never ever. Let nobody cheat you. He became prime minister by virtue of the party that KANU at that time had the most seats in parliament. And so as the leader of KANU, he automatically became prime minister. The same system we have in the UK. Okay? Now, during the whole tenure of Jomo Kenyatta, there were no elections. Yeah, that should be clear. Okay? Because nobody could dare oppose him. Yeah, and it was a young nation, and maybe elections would not have been practical. Yeah. Anyway, Moi took over from him. Moi, again, there was no election. Okay? So Kibaki was the very first president in the history of Kenya to be popularly elected directly by the people. Even me, I voted for Kibaki. And I have no apologies to make, because at that time, it was just Kibaki. Now, when Kibaki took over, the man had very good intentions. He said 0, 0, 0, 0 tolerance to corruption. Okay? And in fact, there was a spirit which took over Kenyans. You remember? There was a time even Kenyans actually arrested a traffic policeman for asking for a bribe from a matatu driver. Remember that? Yeah, the whole country was determined to turn over a new leaf to sahau hiyo maneno ya zamani. Okay? And there was even a very interesting story whereby parastatal heads went to the usual, the CEOs of major parastatals, Kenya Power, Kenya Pipeline, etc., etc., etc. Went into State House, as usual with briefcases full of money. And then President Kibaki asked them, what's this for? They told him, oh, this is the usual thing we do, we bring money. President Kibaki told them, this is a new chapter. Take away that money. Not interested in it. And Kenyans were happy. It looked like the country had turned over a new leaf and we're actually getting rid of corruption. Yeah? Because to get rid of corruption, we have to start at the top. We cannot start down. Corruption trickles down. It never trickles upwards. Yeah? And that should be clear to anybody. Anyway, you will notice that at around that time, the government of President Kibaki became very unstable. So unstable that many people predicted it would not last, including this blogger. I mean, things were shaky. So President Kibaki ate humble pie and went to ask for advice from Mzee Moi, who had experience in these things. And after the advice of Moi, it's true his government really stabilized. But as we saw the government stabilizing, something else happened. The old habits came back. money here, money there. In fact, by the time President Kibaki was finishing his first term, it looked even worse than the Moi regime. Yeah, there was corruption. You remember that very famous Anglo leasing. Yeah, so it was business as usual. Yeah, so what I'm saying is this: we as Kenyans are very determined to get rid of corruption, and I've repeatedly said here, corruption does not know Jubilee, corruption does not know NASA. Okay, I'm not making any excuses for Jubilee. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Jubilee did the right thing. I'm not saying that they did this because of they should have done it anyway. No. What I'm saying is that corruption does not know party lines. So let us take a hypothetical situation. Let us assume that NASA win the election. Yeah? Don't get me wrong. I've not predicted anything. I'm just saying hypothetically. Yani kwa mfano. You don't have to be careful, because the other day I did a recording here on Sonko, and then somebody filled the comments area with, oh, you said Sonko would lose, you said Sonko would lose, you know. So I have to make it clear. Anyway, so let's assume NASA wins. And after NASA wins, we have a new president. President Raila Odinga takes over as president of Kenya. Okay? Now my question is this. Will we see the same thing we saw with Mwai Kibaki, where he was very determined to get rid of corruption? We know that, and I am convinced he was. But immediately he went into State House, something changed. Okay? In other words, the question I should be asking, is it possible to run a Kenyan government without corruption and the power brokers? Is it possible? I think very clearly, looking back and looking at the history of our country, the answer is no. And that is why you see the reaction of all the reaction of President Moi to corruption, the reaction of President Kibaki to corruption after things changed. Again, don't get me wrong, I'm not supporting corruption. What I am saying is that the way our system of ruling is, and the way people keep government stable in Kenya, and the way the presidency runs, has been set in such a way that it cannot do without corruption. So the only way out of it is to have a complete overhaul. Complete overhaul. To be very honest with you, I don't know how it can be done. Because we have these very powerful power brokers, these people who surround the seat of power, very powerful people. Yeah, I'm now beginning to fear them. Yeah, because mtake mpende mspende, they will do their deals. Yeah, and this is the thing which Kenyans need to think very deeply about. Because it is okay to change regime. It is okay to vote for a candidate of your choice. It is okay to change the government, have a new president. That is the right thing to do. But this mystery of this corruption that has to be at the center of power, help me out, readers. Explain to me how this thing works. Why is it that we must have corruption for this country of ours to run? Why? Now, there's a very interesting angle I discussed about this latest Maize scandal in Club 1999. Very, very shocking. I think this is a good time for you to be a member to catch up with that. It is really worth catching up with because it's amazing. Yeah. The fact that this Maize scandal has come so close to the elections and the government is trying to get re-elected poses a very big question. Yeah, which I have posed in Club 1999. So if you catch that, that should be interesting. So folks, I'm deeply mimi ni Mkenya damu, and I don't give a hoot who sits in State House. What I give a hoot is for a better country. Okay, and I know I am stepping on many feet. I know people have got their favorite candidates. Na hata niseme nini, they don't want to hear. Okay, but those of us who have ears and those of us who would like a better country, we need to step back and analyze. Even if you want your candidate to go into State House, it would be very good for you in that party to sit down and look at this issue very seriously, to see what you're going to do, what you're going to replace the current system, which relies on corruption, power barons, and so on. How you're going to, because you see, before you change a system, you have to understand the system which was there. Okay? You have to understand it totally. And then when you understand it totally, you come in with something completely new, which will completely overwhelm the old thing. Because removing an old thing is not easy. Okay? So that's all for now. I wish you all the best. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I'm glad that price of unga has reduced momentarily, although people are only getting 2 packets per person. I know the crisis is still there, but I know it will pass. Kenyans are strong. Let us put this behind us, but let us make sure this does not happen again. Okay, because there's no need of crying over what has already happened. I think the important thing is to look to the future and find a solution that this thing will never ever happen in our country again. Because Kenya is a very fertile land. We have so many lakes. There are countries which are deserts and they export food. Egypt is one good example. Israel is another. Kenya is so fertile. Most of Kenya is so fertile, and yet every year, miaka kuja miaka nenda, there's always this problem of hunger, and it has nothing to do with drought. It has nothing to do with failed rain. It is just a matter of policy and planning. I have to go before I get too emotional. Thanks, guys. This is Chris Kumekucha. Till next time.